What's up, Trojans? Just want to get a nice quick recap out of the Giants' epic win over Washington. 2 wins are against Washington in a season where the Giants only have 3 wins total. So, picking 3 wins, you might as well have 2 against the same division rival, and 1 is an epic comeback. That's just one way to do it if you're going to have 3 wins. Great game to watch. I happened to be there live. That made the experience so much better. Seeing all the big plays live, the 2 Saquon touchdowns, the 2 big Saquon runs, the big Darius Slayton touchdown, Tommy DeVito overall finding a nice way to distribute the ball. And then the defense and special teams, 6 turnovers, 3 picks by the defense, and a good number of sacks. Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau showing up. Kayvon had 2 sacks total on the stat sheet, but I felt like he was back there so much more than what warranted only 2 sacks. It was a great performance overall by the Giants. Still a lot of mistakes. You have a 6 turnover game, yet you only win 31-19, and that's only because one of the turnovers happened to be a pick 6. 6 turnovers, you might as well throw a pick 6 in there, but the game should have been put away at 6 turnovers. Anyway, going over it, Giants offense started out really slow. It felt like every single time they handed the ball off to Saquon, he was losing yards. Washington fans were very happy with this initially. And then the defense started getting their turnovers. The first fumble, really at a moment's glance, watching it live, it did not look like a fumble. It looked like the knee was down first, and the Washington Jumbotron operator was very quick to get a still shot, not a video, a still shot of what looked like the ball in the guy's hand with a knee on the ground. But there must have been some bobbling, or I don't know. I can't see the review process. They don't want to show it too in depth when they know it's about to not go their way. So, I didn't get to see that whole review process, but it was ruled a fumble. And there was one other fumble that was close like that. And, there were a bunch of Washington fans like, throw the flag. Anyway, the other fumble was very obvious. I could even see it. And then the 3 picks for 6 turnovers. And, after that fumble and then the other turnover, the offense, the interception, the long pick, in that fumble I mentioned before where they had it on the Jumbotron, the offense was not scoring points off those 2. We still had a very low-scoring game. I forget exactly how Washington scored points. I'm just going over the Giants here. And then they started opening up the passing game a bit more, and that seemed to end up opening up the run game. That's, one way to do it. Pass before running. But it worked. Saquon had a nice long touchdown catch, was able to get around his defender, ended up catching it on the sideline in the end zone before the safety could get over. DeVito threw a great pass. Saquon touchdown. It was a great play to watch. And then the other touchdown to get the Giants to 14 points. It was 14-12 at one point in the game. A long touchdown to Darius Slayton. He just caught it and... gone. He caught it, kind of stutter-stepped, juked the defender, and just touchdown. Nice and easy. That was a nice big play. Big play Slay, as he was about to be coined in 2019 when he was making some of those really big plays. But, that was great to see some of those big plays by the offense really start to help the defense out and the defense, throughout the game, getting the pressures and the sacks. So it was good to see the offense, start to pay that back, get a lead of 14-12. Then from there, the defense was still really good. They gave up one more touchdown, which resulted in a little bit of a skirmish. 2 guys got ejected, Giants corner Cordell Flott, and I forget who it was for Washington. But other than that, the defense ended up finishing the game solid, still keeping on with the pressures. And, there were a couple more turnovers. I think there was one other pick there late in the game, another late game fumble. And obviously ended up being the pick 6 that sealed it. And the offense, keeping it going and everything. They ended up getting good few more points. One of them, a nice touchdown to Saquon, just a simple out route there. And then the two big runs to Saquon were before that, or mixed in with that. And those runs were great to see. It took some good blocks. One notable block was Wan'Dale Robinson. But those runs really helped the Giants out. And yeah, that receiving touchdown by Saquon was awesome. It was great to see them throw the ball to Saquon a bit more and get him 2 receiving touchdowns. He didn't even have a rushing touchdown. He only had 80 yards rushing. And that was almost all from the 2 big runs because, so many of his runs early in the game were actually for negative yardage. So he had to make that up and then some to get the average he had today. But he ended up having a good bit of touches, not necessarily a ton of runs, but yeah, he had some solid receptions there, the 2 receiving touchdowns and the 1 big one. It was great to see him be a very versatile threat, more like he was in 2018. But, the offense kept that train moving, and the game ended up coming down to the defense, unfortunately. The Giants were only up 24-19. Washington had a chance. They could have driven down the field, scored, won the game, but Isaiah Simmons ended up reading a play well and just catching the ball on the sideline, pick 6, runs it into the end zone, and, immediately from there trying to beat traffic. I forget if it was like the last play of the game alone or if there had to be a QB sneak, but the second, I saw him walk in the end zone, or he didn't walk in the end zone, he turned around and fell, but, the second I saw that, whipped it out of the stadium. So, yeah, it was a great game to watch. A lot of fun stuff to be had there. And, aside from like that Jumbotron thing, definitely noticed the Giants do a lot of substitutions on defense. And it's very obvious they're live, seeing it, just seeing Dexter Lawrence or Kayvon Thibodeau on the sideline. Like, I know they have to rest, human beings, get tired every now and then. Need a couple plays off, but it's just so obvious, just seeing them stand there. It's like, and especially when it goes on for more than like 2 plays, it's like, all right, sub in one of your best guys again. Come on, the defensive line could use you. One substitution that happened like every 5 seconds, they were swapping out Ward and Ojulari. I felt like those 2 guys, like 50-50, shared a role as a pass rusher. Very weird to see. I don't notice it that much on the TV. And then, just very interesting to see how everything plays out live. Because I hadn't been to a Giants game before, so, seeing how, like, the Jumbotron operator does stuff, and I definitely feel like a couple times, especially since the game was getting close there in the end, I feel like the play clock started a moment before the game clock. That's just me, though. So that's what I thought I saw, could be wrong. Just looked like a moment sooner, No, there definitely is a home team advantage there. But the other thing, Giants fans started to take over that stadium at the end of the game. The Giants fans were chanting defense something hard at that last possession that Washington had, and it resulted in a pick 6, so it worked out. And yeah, the defense's performance all day, lots of pressures, lots of turnovers. The defense was pretty consistent, only allowed 19 points. That'll keep any team in a game. Even if, your offense is only going to score 3 points, you enter the third quarter 3-19. Yeah, it doesn't look like you really have a chance depending on the game flow, but really you have a chance. Just 3 scores. Or no, 2. 3-19, you'd only have 2 scores because you get the 2-point conversions. Yeah. So 19 points, keeps a team in the game for a long time. And then special teams was pretty good overall. They had a turnover. They caused 1 fumble. Overall, great team performance. And looking ahead, a lot of talk about the draft and everything. And yeah, the Giants, they haven't been a great team this year. If more losses were close, I think it would be more realistic to think, even at 3-8, like, all right, the Giants are going to get a couple more wins and, we'll have like a middle-of-the-road draft pick. But a lot of the Giants' losses this year have been terrible losses. Only, I think, 3 I'll say were close. Two of the notable ones were the Bills and the Jets. The Giants have 3 wins, 2 against Washington, 1 big comeback against Arizona. And then 2 very close losses, which were the Bills and the Jets. And then I'll say the Giants were in the Dolphins game because of the 3 turnovers and everything. But otherwise, the Giants had some bad losses. And that is not the mark of a competing team. That's not the mark of a good team, having bad losses like that. The mark of a good team is, you can have a ton of close wins. But you need to be able to have some key wins. Like, okay, this team is not doing well. You should beat them by a good bit. And beat them by at least 2 scores. And 2 scores of, like, game flow 2 scores. Not like the Washington almost won the game. And then it was a pick 6, which made it 31-19, which makes it 2 scores. Like, 2 solid scores. Like, the Giants beat the Colts by a good bit last year. That was the mark of a good, solid playoff team that ended up winning a playoff game. And you think all that momentum's going to carry over into this season. It didn't at all. That was a real shame. So, great to get the win. I hope it builds morale going into the future. But if this win doesn't build enough morale to carry the team to, the biggest comeback ever, the 9-8 season, I'm very neutral toward tanking any future losses. Just, hey, better draft pick, I guess. But I always like to see the wins. See you guys in the next one.